So it turns out Callaway lied to me. I guess lied might be a little bit strong. How about wasn't completely forthcoming? I know it doesn't roll off the tongue, but you see, for the last year to maybe 18 months, whenever players like Xander Schauffele or John Rahm or Rose Zhang have won a professional event around the world, Callaway has told me all about their golf equipment, and they've included a listing of their Callaway Jaws Raw wedges. Except they weren't using Jaws Raw wedges. Sure, they were labeled Jaws Raw, and they cosmetically looked just like a Jaws Raw wedge, but they weren't. In fact, they were these. This is a Callaway Opus Wedge. It's just dropped, and now you can get one too. Hey, in fact, there's actually Opus as well as Opus Platinum, and I'm gonna tell you about both of them right now. So according to Callaway, there's three big things that you're gonna really wanna know about the Opus Wedge. The first is going to be the shape. Now, in many cases, golf equipment companies develop a new club, whether it's a driver, an iron, a wedge, a putter, what have you, and then they bring it out to the PGA Tour, they talk to their staff players and ask them, well, what do you think about it? And they make subtle refinements to it, and then they go on their way and they make it available to retail. Now, to my eyes, it has an exceptionally clean look in the address position. Callaway has had several different versions of high toe and PM grind wedges in the past. The Opus isn't that. There is no Opus high toe, at least not yet. This is a classic teardrop shaped looking wedge. It has a complete chrome finish. The entire thing has been chromed over. This is not a raw steel version, or at least the ones that are being brought out to retail first are not raw steel. This is all chrome. The second thing that Callaway really wants people to understand when it comes to the Opus Wedge is that it has a whole new face treatment and a whole new configuration to help you generate more spin and control around the greens. It starts with Callaway manufacturing the sharpest grooves that the USGA and the R&A will allow. So according to the company, this is basically maxed out on sharpness on the groove edges. Now, Callaway in the Opus Wedge has compacted the space between each of those grooves and numerically added more grooves to the face of all of these wedges. They come from 48 degrees all the way up to 60 degrees, and you're gonna notice that there are more grooves here in the hitting area. Now, more grooves means more groove edges, and more groove edges theoretically means more bite on the golf ball, and that's what Callaway is looking to try and do to help you add more spin. To supplement those grooves, Callaway has incorporated a new face blasting using quartz. Now, Callaway told me that quartz and the quartz blasting treatment that goes over the face itself is able to roughen up the face a lot more effectively than other treatments it's used in the past. So you're going to be able to generate a little bit more friction in the spaces between the grooves. And finally, there are micro grooves that have been set into these wedges between the grooves themselves, so that when you open up the wedge, there are going to be a series of micro grooves that then become perpendicular to your intended target line. So you're going to be able to get, again, more friction, more face roughness, more spin on the ball. And for golfers, more spin with your wedges means more control. Now, third, Callaway is also offering the Opus Wedge in several different sole grind configurations, from a wide sole to a relatively straight sole. There's a C grind. There is also going to be a T grind. All of those sole grind configurations are designed to help you be able to get underneath the ball and interact with the turf and interact with the sand in a way that's going to be most effective. If the courses you play most often have really light, fluffy sand, if you are especially steep with your angle of attack, or if you play on soft, spongy turf, you're going to want to go with one of the sole grind options that's going to have the most bounce. If you're somebody who lives in a very arid climate, a very hot climate, where, for example, the turf is going to be very firm, or if you play most of your golf in links style conditions, you don't want to have a high bounce wedge. You want to go with a low bounce option, and Callaway has that as well in the Opus lineup. Now, while the Callaway Opus Wedge is cast from 8620 carbon steel, like many other wedges that are out there, the Callaway Platinum is a little bit different. Now, instead of being cast like the standard Opus wedges, or even forged or milled like some of the other wedges that are out there on the market, the Callaway Opus Platinum wedges are MIM. MIM stands for metal injection molding, and basically it means that Callaway took a proprietary blend of materials, packed it in a powder form inside of a form, and then superheated it and put it under pressure. And the result is a much more accurate representation about what the designers really wanted these clubs to be. It is a super precise way of manufacturing. The other thing that the Callaway designers did with the Opus Platinum wedges is try and elevate the center of gravity. Opus Platinum is only going to be available in 54, 56, 58, and 60 degree options. So this is going to be a sand wedge and lob wedge only. And to do that, what they did was add a slug of tungsten right here behind the top line. That tungsten is extremely dense and heavy, and so it doesn't take a whole lot to shift the center of gravity upward. Now, why would you want the center of gravity in your sand wedge or your lob wedge to be up? Well, with 54 to 60 degrees of loft, getting the ball up in the air is not going to be a problem. In most cases, accomplished golfers are trying to actually flight their sand wedges and their lob wedges down. And so by putting a little bit more mass up at the top, behind the top line, it elevates the center of gravity, and that should create a lower, more piercing ball flight. It also puts more mass up at the top of the club head. So when you open the face, you're gonna have a little bit more mass up near the top of the hitting area. That's where you're gonna be making contact when you open the face. It's gonna amplify feel as well. Now, in addition to having a difference in the way that the heads are manufactured, there's also gonna be a difference in the components that come stock with the Opus and the Opus Platinum. Standard Opus is going to be getting a True Temper Dynamic Gold Wedge 115 shaft, along with a Golf Pride Tour Velvet 360 grip. It's pretty standard stuff and very, very popular. When you step up to the Opus Platinum, it's gonna be a little bit more premium. Now you're looking at a True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue 115 mid shaft. It's going to be in this black finish, and you're getting a Golf Pride MMC grip instead of the standard Tour Velvet 360. The standard Callaway Opus Wedge is going to cost about $179, while the Opus Platinum Wedge is going to go for $229. So if you're going to be in the market for some new wedges in 2024, you might want to talk to a good custom fitter about the new Callaway Opus line of wedges.